Sri Shambho Ramanatha. Welcome to another session of Shiva Purana, also called Shiva Mahapurana. We saw in the last session how Kamadeva, Manmatha, and Rati were able to bring about attraction between male and female, between Shiva and Shakti, and how this prompted self-sustaining continuation of life. And then we also saw how Vishnu was gifted the Sudarshana Chakra. Today we will be talking about the origin of Nandi, or Nandishvara as he is called. Shiva Purana has a particular story. There is also another popular story about Nandi which I would like to add to this, because it gives us some sort of a tantric understanding, a deeper, esoteric, secretive understanding of what Nandi is all about. It is said that there was a very penitent rishi called Shilada. He sat motionless in the tapasya of Shiva and started chanting the name of Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. He sat so silent, he sat so still that it looked like he had become a stone. Shilada also means stone-like in Sanskrit. He kept chanting, and as usual, wildlife started growing around him. An anthill grew, a Valmika. Creepers started growing. In fact, for a passerby, it would have been impossible to know that there was a human, a living human, sitting behind all this growth of nature around him. He sat like a rock, Shila, the rock-like. When his tapasya, when his penance was going on to bring forward Shiva himself to have the darshana, the sight, the essence of Shiva, simultaneously a young child is born in the Devaloka, in the Swarga, the heavens. A young daughter called Suvesha is born to the Marut Vayu, also called as Pavana Deva. Narada happens to visit the home of this Marut Vayu Pavana Deva. Narayana, Narayana. He says, your daughter Suvesha will marry a Maha Shiva Bhakta on Bhumi, planet Earth. Everybody is very curious. How is this possible? Deva Rishi, a Deva Kanya, a deity, a demigod, will marry an ordinary mortal human? Is this going to be possible? There is an elaborate explanation by Narada as to how wonderful Earth is, and you will be surprised that in one of the instances, Narada Rishi is saying that Earth is much better than heaven itself, because Lord Shiva resides here on the Kailasha, on Mount Kailas, stays the Lord of all multiverses. Rishi Narada also explains that this is the Karma Bhumi, like I have told you earlier. In the Sanatana Hindu cosmology, out of the 14 lokas, this is the only loka where your karmas add on and you are promoted to higher and higher consciousness, or if your karmas are really heavy and dark, you will be pushed down into the neither worlds. So he says, Rishi Narada says, earth is much better than heaven, where this Devakanya is seen playing around because she's still very young. She's not of marriage age. And he disappears, and of course, there's a lot of discussion between the husband and wife as to whether the prophecy of Rishi Narada will come true or not. On earth, Shilada Rishi's tapasya, his penance bears fruit. Shiva, along with Sati, grants him the darshana, the audience. It says, what do you want, Rishi Shilada? Shilada says, now thousands of years have passed. Shilada says, I would like to have an immortal son who will eternally be the servant, the dasa of you, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva says, this is not possible. At your age, Rishi Shilada, it is not possible for you to produce a son. It is against nature. Shiva asks him to, ask for any other thing except this particular boon. Rishi Shilada is adamant. No, I want a son. I want a son who will be an eternal dasa of Shiva. Sati tries to reason with him and tell him even the Chaturmukha Brahma, the creator of this universe, cannot go against the laws of nature, go against Rita. It is not fair for you to ask for such a child. Shilada says, I do not care. I want Lord Shiva to grant me a son. Lord Shiva is stuck. Of course, there are a lot of arguments as to whether it is impossible for Shiva also to break the fabric of natural law and justice, whether in his eternal compassion he will grant the wishes of his bhaktas, his devotees. Shilada finally says, so it is impossible for Shiva. So there is something which is impossible for Shiva, is it? Sati doesn't want this to happen. Sati doesn't want the world, people, devas, anybody to think that there is something impossible for Shiva. She also requests Shiva to grant Rishi Shilada's wish. Out of nowhere, a child is placed into the hands of Sati. When Sati hands over the child to Rishi Shilada, and he is blessed that this child will be an eternal devotee, a dasa, a bhakta of Lord Shiva. Shilada wants to know what he should be called. Lord Shiva himself, the Rudra, names him Nandi, the one who will never be wiped out. That is the meaning of Nandi. One who will never be wiped out, because he is immortal. This is the story found in Shiva Purana. However, there is another version of the same story where Shiva says, even though it is impossible, I will be granting your wish. Shiva disappears, and Shilada Rishi finds a young boy under the earth who becomes Nandi later on. A slight variation in this story. On the other hand, in the Devaloka, the Pavana Putri, Suvesha, is growing up to be a very beautiful, naughty young girl. She reaches puberty, makes a lot of friends. She's an outgoing extrovert who likes to play. And she likes to fly in the sky and travel around all the worlds, all the realms. And that is how she encounters one day Narada Rishi. It is called Gagana Vihara. Gagana means the sky, Vihara means traveling. On one of her such travels in the sky, or we might call it space, she dashes against Narada Rishi and Narada tumbles off. It is here again that Narada reminds Suvesha that she is going to get married to a Paramashiva Bhakta on earth. She wants to know where this Paramashiva Bhakta is. Narada points, says, hey, there, he is there. Suvesha cannot stop herself. She travels through the air, flies to the place that Nandi is meditating on Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. He is so deeply engrossed in his meditation that only his body and breath are here physically. His mind, his chitta, his atma, everything is surrendered at the feet of Lord Shiva. He is spiritually in Kailasa. Physically, he is opposite to Suvesha. Suvesha, having heard the prophecy of Narada, wants to wake up Nandi, disturb his samadhi and express her love. For her, it is love at first sight. The moment she saw Nandi, she's lost. She's deep dived into the ocean of love, because that is what divinity is all about. People who have not discovered love, even if they have loved and lost, they have tasted divinity. Suvesha is head over heels in love with Nandi. She tries all of feminine charms. She shakes her anklets. Chal chal. No effect. She bangs together her bangles. No effect. She comes close to Nandi so that her perfume, her scent, her pheromones enter the breath of Nandi and enters his system and stirs his heart. No effect. It seems like a Shilada. Nandi too is like a stone, like a rock. No effect of this woman. She dances, she sings, she sprays water on him. No effect. Finally, she says, Nandi has to be wedded to me. The prophecy of Rishi Narada cannot go wrong. So she touches him, caresses him in a lot of love. The kind of touch, the electricity that is produced could melt any rock. If you were ever to touch a woman, or if a woman was ever to touch you in love, the entire energy of her being can get transferred to your fingertips, and the very touch can be electrifying. I wish that each one of you experiences the transfer of love energy. The deep samadhi of Nandi is broken. But instead of love, anger comes out of Nandi and says, "How dare you? How dare you wake me from my deep tapasya, my deep penance? Ever since I was born, the only thing that I have done in my life is to meditate on Lord Shiva. And you have destroyed my penance. You have nullified my tapasya. You have broken my resolve." He takes water in his palm from his kamandala and wants to give a shrapa, to curse her. Just as he's about to throw the water, a strong hand stops him. Shiva and Sati have appeared together. They have blessed him with their darshan. Nandi is still shocked. Who is this man? This is not a man. This must be a god. Why is he so powerful? How is it that he has so much effect on me? He's unable to utter a single word. His breath has stopped. He cannot even breathe. He is existing, but again, unable to do anything. It is Sati who stops the entire drama and opens up a conversation. "This is Lord Shiva. I am his consort, the Shakti Swarupa, the incarnation of Shakti, Sati. We have come to bless you and give you our darshana. Do not curse this poor girl. It is because of her that you have gained our darshana, our sight, our essence has come to you. Because of this girl, Suvesha. Suvesha falls at the feet of Sati. She takes refuge in Sati and explains, Mother, I have done nothing on my own. It is Devarishi Narada who prophesies that I will be marrying this man. And it is because of that prophecy that I woke him from his deep samadhi. Please get us married. I am in love with him." Sati feels very happy to see that Suvesha has the same kind of love that she has towards Lord Shiva. The quality love is the same, whether it is Shakti and Shiva, whether it is Suvesha and Nandi, whether it is Rama and Sita, whether it is Radha and Krishna. Love is the one divine quality that binds us all, and it is of the same quality no matter who you are. The love between a mother and a child, the love between a brother and his sister, the love between a soldier and his country, the love between a sadhaka and his deity. The quality of love remains the same. Swesha is blessed with this divine love. Sati immediately declares that she must be married to Nandi. Shiva blesses Nandi with the eternal bhakti, the eternal company of Shiva. Also, he says, as soon as you get married to Swesha, I will make you the chief of all Ganas, the Ganadhyaksha. The Ganadhyaksha is the chief of all Ganas. On a side note, I would like to tell you that a Gana is basically a friend of Shiva. Even though they are devotees of Shiva, even though they are dasas of Shiva, they are also friends. A similar concept exists in Islam also, where there are many sadhakas who are considered to be walis. Wali meaning friend of Shiva. Of course, there is a long argument, not an argument, a discussion between Nandishvara and Shiva about why he should marry. See, Nandi is still not feeling the love for Swesha, but he is feeling the deep bhakti and friendship for Shiva. Is this going to be lopsided? Is this going to be a trouble in the married life of Nandi? We will see in the coming session. However, Shiva clarifies that every Shiva Gana will be affected by the love arrow of Manmatha Kamadeva, as we saw in the last session. Because Shiva and Shakti themselves are in eternal bondage, eternal attraction of love. It is only fair that every Shiva Gana is also attracted to his better half or attracted to her better half. There is no gender bias in Kailasa. Shiva doesn't discriminate between male and female. If there are some LGBTQ plus people watching this session, Shiva doesn't discriminate between any of the categories of gender that you may proclaim yourself either. Shiva is all about love. Once Nandishvara agrees to marry Swesha, he is crowned as the Ganadhyaksha by Shringi and Bringi, who are also the chief friends of Shiva. In the coming sessions, we will also learn who Shringi and Bringi are. They are some beautiful people, not humans, Shiva Ganas. Maybe we can do a special session about who these Shiva Ganas are. There is a slight way, this is the Shiva Purana story. There is a slight variation in the marriage of Nandi, where Shiva says that his vehicle, the bull, has died and Nandi can become his vehicle, and Nandi's head is supplanted with that of a bull. That is not found in Shiva Purana, but there are other Puranas which talk about this story. Now, what do we understand? What is the esoteric, tantric, what is the secret meaning of this story? You must understand 3 words here and you will understand the entire story. Shilada. the son of Shilada, Nandi, and Suvesha. If you understand these three words, you understand the story of Nandi. When you are steadfast like a rock, like a Shila, in the bhakti, in the meditation, in the penance of Shiva, you will be blessed. I have already told you that the whole meditative technique of Mahakriya is to increase your Kundalini to your Sahasrara and give birth to yourself spiritually. Once a sadhaka is able to reach the heights of Shilada, he gives birth to himself through the spiritual chakra of the Sahasrara, and a Nandi is born. All of us should become Shiladas and give birth to ourselves spiritually, and all of us should become Nandis, the eternal vehicle of Shiva. Aren't we all vehicles of Shiva, carrying his message, carrying his tattva, carrying his essence? What else is there except Shiva? Everything is Shivamaya. Having reached the state of Nandi, you must also partake in the continuation of this word, Suvesha, meaning you must enter the goodness of what this universe provides you. Get married, become a rishi, be a grahastha, continue the samaja. If you have become a siddha, if you have reached liberation, mokshatva, that doesn't mean that you disappear from this universe, but rather you stay in this universe and become a beacon. Just as the Nandi is sitting outside the temple, directing everybody towards Shiva, looking at Shiva forever in eternal meditation, become the beacon to lead people towards the Shiva Tattva. This is the story of Nandi. Are there any questions? Please type if you have any questions, and we could take it right now. One very beautiful question. Did Shiva not burn Kamadeva after he shot the arrow? That is during the story of Parvati. We are still in the story of Sati. In the last session, when I was telling you about the arrow of Pushpa, of flowers which hit both Shiva and Shakti, and they were in eternal ecstasy. Did I not tell you that they permeated the entire universe? We are still in the story of Sati. Remember, Shakti has reincarnated herself many times. Parvati is her latest incarnation. Of course, I would like to believe that Moima is her latest incarnation. But Parvati, the Shiva Purana says, is the incarnation of this Manvantara. We will be talking about that. Right now, we are still with Sati. And in this story, the love between Shiva and Shakti, the attraction between Shiva and Sati is still going on. And Kamadeva is not yet burnt. Okay, when we come to the story of Parvati, we will be talking about the burning, the dahana of Kama. I think this was the most pertinent question. So let us have a small prayer. Let us recall our gurus and Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Gurur Kripa. Shri Shambho Ramanatha, Shri Shambho Ramanatha, Adesh, Adesh, Alak Adesh. We'll meet in our next session.